Welcome to you wherever you are watching us from. This is an English edition of Dalsan TV, Somalia's #1 TV station, made for news and updates. My name is Abdulrazak Ali, and we have a lot lined up for you on this day of 23rd May 2023. But first, let's have a look at what we have prepared for you. US Africa Command conducts airstrike on Al-Shabaab targets in Jilib. Prime Minister Barre in Egypt for African Development Bank Summit. 36 foreign nationals appear in Mogadishu court for illegal fishing in Somali waters. And international community hails Puntland for preparations for district council elections. Welcome back to Dalsan TV English News. The US Africa Command, AFRICOM, has confirmed, saying it has carried out an airstrike in the Al-Shabaab capital, Jilib, on Saturday, targeting Al-Shabaab militants in the area. The US Africa Command, AFRICOM, has confirmed carrying out an airstrike in Jilib on Saturday, targeting Al-Shabaab militants in the area. The strike, which occurred amid heightened ground operations against the group, has been described as a significant blow to the terrorist organization. In a statement released on Monday, AFRICOM said that the strike was carried out with precision and hit its intended targets. The location of the strike was Jilib, which is known to be a stronghold of Al-Shabaab in southern Somalia. According to AFRICOM, the command's initial assessment is that no civilians were killed or injured in the attack. The command also emphasized its commitment to conducting operations in compliance with the law of armed conflict and ensuring the protection of civilians. The strike is part of ongoing efforts by AFRICOM and its partners to degrade the capabilities of Al-Shabaab and prevent the group from carrying out attacks in Somalia and beyond. The terrorist group has been responsible for numerous attacks in the region, including the deadly Westgate Mall in Nairobi in 2013. The US has been working closely with the Somali government and other partners to combat the threat posed by Al-Shabaab. The group has been involved in a long-running insurgency aimed at overthrowing the government and establishing an Islamic State in the country. In recent months, there has been an increase in ground operations against Al-Shabaab in central and southern Somalia. The Somali government and its partners have been intensifying their efforts to disrupt the group's operations and reduce its ability to carry out attacks. The airstrike in Jilib is seen as a significant blow to Al-Shabaab, which has been under increasing pressure in recent years. The group has suffered significant losses due to military operations and infighting, but remains a potent threat in the region. AFRICOM has pledged to continue working with its partners to disrupt and degrade the capabilities of Al-Shabaab. The airstrike in Jilib is a clear indication of the commitment of the command to supporting the efforts of the Somali government and its partners to achieve a long-term peace and stability in the country. Now, 36 foreign nationals consisting of 33 Iranians and 3 Pakistanis made an appearance at the Benadir Regional Court in Mogadishu after being arrested for illegal fishing in Somali waters.
36 foreign nationals consisting of 33 Iranians and 3 Pakistanis made an appearance at the Benadir Regional Court in Mogadishu after being arrested for illegally fishing in Somali waters. State media reported the incident, which occurred when Somali Coast Guards apprehended the men near the coastal town of Hobyo in Modog region on April 10th. According to reports, the foreign nationals were caught fishing in Somali waters without proper permits and licenses required by law. This is a serious offense in Somalia, as the country's fishing industry is a critical source of income for many Somali communities. The court proceedings on Sunday were presided over by Judge Abdullah Hussein Mohammed, who listened to the charges against the defendants. The men were accused of violating Somali maritime laws and were facing charges of illegal fishing. During the proceedings, the prosecution presented evidence in the form of confiscated fishing equipment and other materials used in the illegal fishing operation. The prosecution also called upon witnesses, including local fishermen, to testify against the defendants. The defense team argued that the foreign nationals were unaware of the laws and regulations in Somalia regarding fishing in its waters. However, the judge was not swayed by their arguments and ordered the men to be remanded in custody pending the outcome of the trial. The case has attracted significant attention from the Somali public, who are concerned about the impact of illegal fishing on the country's economy and environment. Illegal fishing has become a major problem in Somalia in recent years, with foreign vessels taking advantage of the country's weak maritime laws and regulations. The trial of the 36 nationals is expected to continue in the coming weeks as the court examines the evidence and hears testimony from witnesses. This case is seen as a test of Somalia's commitment to enforcing its maritime laws and protecting its fishing industry from illegal activities.
Meanwhile, the international community has hailed Puntland's preparations for the upcoming district council elections, expressing hope for a peaceful process following the resolution of difference between the opposition and the state government.
The international community has hailed Puntland's preparations for the upcoming district council elections, expressing hope for a peaceful process following the resolution of differences between the opposition and the state government. Foreign diplomats and the United Nations have praised the Transitional Puntland Electoral Commission for its effort to overcome significant challenges in organizing the historic elections. The Transitional Puntland Electoral Commission has been working to ensure successful conduct of the polls, which is seen as a critical step towards strengthening democracy and good governance in Puntland. The district council elections, which are scheduled to take place Thursday 25th, 2023, will be the first of their kind in the region in more than 2 decades. The polls will see election of representatives from the 66 across Puntland, with the aim of promoting greater citizen participation and accountability in local governance. The successful organization of elections is seen as a key milestone in Puntland's journey towards peace, stability, and development. The international community has expressed its support for electoral process, calling for transparent, inclusive, and peaceful election. They have called on all stakeholders to continue working towards a peaceful and inclusive electoral process, free from violence, intimidation, and other forms of electoral malpractice. The opposition politicians have accepted in principle that the elections should be held peacefully and that the troops should be expelled from the city, as so said. The opposition has stationed its forces in parts of the capital, Garowe, amid reports of tension. A former deputy commander of the Puntland Security Forces at Garowe Airport, Haile Arbe Hirei, was killed on Monday under unclear circumstances. As the countdown to the district council election continues, Puntland's preparations have received widespread praise from the international community. The successful conduct of the polls is seen as a critical step towards consolidating democracy, promoting good governance, and advancing the cause of peace and stability in the region.
Now, on to our last story. The Somali Prime Minister, Hamza Abdi Barre, has traveled to Sharm el-Sheikh of Egypt to participate in the African Development Bank Summit.
Somali Prime Minister Hamza Abdi Barre has traveled to Sharm el-Sheikh of Egypt to participate in the African Development Bank Summit. The summit, under the theme of mobilizing private sector financing for climate and green growth in Africa, kicked off on Monday and will run for 5 days. The bank group's annual meeting will allow the bank's boards of governors, African leaders, and development partners to explore practical ways of mobilizing private sector financing for climate and green growth in Africa, in line with the theme of this year's meeting. The African Development Bank is spearheading climate adaptation efforts across the continent and has devoted 63% of its climate finance, the highest among all multilateral development banks. The bank's new climate action window will support millions of farmers, enabling them to access climate-resistant seeds. The institution has also launched the Desert to Power initiative to develop 10,000 megawatts of solar power to benefit nearly 250 million people across the Sahel. The bank and the Global Center for Adaptation have launched the African Adaptation Acceleration Program to mobilize $25 billion to support Africa's adaptation to climate change. It has also established the Alliance for Green Infrastructure in partnership with other institutions to mobilize $10 $10 billion in private investment for green infrastructure in Africa.
Now that story brings us to the end of our bulletin today. My name is Abdulrazak Ali. Have a lovely evening.